Good afternoon y buenas tardes, everybody. My name is Jorge Miranda Garcia, and here's my vato Andres Hernandez. Say what's up.
Yo, what's up?
Today, on this podcast, first ever episode, we are going to dive into the recipe and background of our Hispanic's most celebrated and traditional bread that symbolizes community, celebration, and religious miracle, the Rosca De Reyes.
Before we jump straight into the recipe of this traditional Mexican dish, a little word from our sponsor, Michael Smith.
Have you ever met the man people call that guy? Have you ever questioned who is the best professor? Well, say no more. Michael Smith is one of Rowan University's best professors and highly recommended for anyone wanting to take Comp 1 or more. He deserves all the praise in the world, and we'd like to thank him for his work. Now back to the podcast. Now, Andres, let's hop into this recipe. For the people at home, you're going to need a couple of tools beforehand.
Also, we linked a recipe card in the description to follow along as well.
All right, let's get into it. In a small bowl, pour in lukewarm water and sprinkle with yeast. Stir with
Yeast.
with yeast. Stir with a fork until all the yeast has been dissolved, and then set it aside till foamy for 5 to 10 minutes.
That's too long. The hell I want to wait for?
Nah, I already got it. Because then you have to stir in 1.5 cup of flour and cover the bowl with plastic wrap. Let it sit again in a warm place for 25 minutes for double bulking.
25 minutes? Bro, I ain't trying to wait for that long. I want it now.
Don't worry about that. We got it.
Bad.
Meanwhile, mix the rest of the flour, 3 eggs, egg yolks that are soaked in 3 teaspoons of milk, orange zest, salt, and butter in a large bowl.
Zest.
Mix until crumbly. All right, so but while we're waiting for this dough to rise, fun fact, did you know that January 6th is a traditional day to eat rosca?
Really? I did not. Wait, what? Really? Wait, I did not know that. I did know it was traditional to eat right there on that day, but never figured why. Why was it like so traditional?
Nah, yeah, man. Usually rosca would be accompanied by hot chocolate or another warm drink such as coffee or atole. And January 6th is a traditional day because it's King's Day, Three Kings Day. Yeah.
I just know it because we're Hispanic. We just did it like that.
Ah, su madre. Anywho, now that we're waiting on our dough to finish rising, we'd add the yeast mix to the bowl and mix. It'll be sticky, but it'll be manageable. Add flour if needed. Place the dough on a lightly floured surface and knead till you have a smooth dough. It takes 15 to 20 minutes, but note, refrain from using an excessive flour.
Bro, why we're waiting so long?
Trust. All right, once the dough is smooth, place in a buttered bowl and covered with plastic wrap. The dough should be wet and elastic. It should stay set for 1.5 hours.
Boy, 1.5 hours. I'm not trying to wait. I want it.
No, bro, you need to make sure the kitchen is also warm to help the dough rise. It's all part of the process.
Hell no.
Meanwhile, the dough is resting. Mix the following ingredients for decoration. The margarine with powdered sugar until creamy. Then add in flour and an egg yolk until you have a smooth base. Now, Andres, did you know that the rosca symbolizes a crown?
Loki, I did not know. I thought no. Oh, isn't that because why they have the little green and the red stuff on top of the rosca, and that's where like made the crown, or just because?
No. It's actually based on the crown of King Herod, from whom they were trying to hide the infant Jesus. Yeah. And well, now back. After the first resting period, turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface. Knead a few times and then shape it into a round cushion, making a hole in the middle to make a large ring.
Pause.
Transfer the dough again into a baking sheet and cover it in a buttered plastic wrap. Let it rise again for 45 minutes.
Another way.
Now, after that, you have to gather all your decorations and egg wash. For the egg wash, whisk the remaining egg with milk or water. After you're done with that, preheat the oven for at least 20 minutes before baking at 375 degrees with your rack in the lower third level.
I remember one time you were telling me how to use the stove. I did not understand it. I kept pressing each button like, huh?
Oh, this guy. All right, but once you're done, brush the dough with egg wash 2 times for a golden crisp. Form strips with the powdered sugar paste and decorate the dough. Place some of the dried fruit, pressing gently into the dough, and sprinkle some sugar. Bake for 10 minutes and then reduce the heat to 350 degrees and bake for another 10 minutes until the bread is a nice golden brown.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, man. But speaking about the dried fruit, did you know that the fruit placed on top symbolizes a jewel on the crown?
Okay, I kind of knew that before even like searching it up or anything like that, because I could tell the dried fruit did kind of symbolize some type of way, even though it's like the jewelry and stuff like that. How you
No,
said.
No, yeah, no. The dried fruit are often described as resembling the encrusted hems on the king's crown.
Oh, la la
Yeah,
la la.
yeah. Now that we're going in our final process, finally transfer the bread to a wire rack to cool. Once the bread is cooled, insert the baby dolls from beneath and enjoy the rosca with some Mexican hot chocolate.
Want to get burned though?
No, no, it'll be
No.
fine. For the viewers who want to know more about the background of the Rosca de Reyes, the Rosca de Reyes is a celebratory sweetbread dish that is customary for friends and family to get together on January 6th to celebrate Three Kings Day. The rosca, or the round bread of kings, is traditionally served on the day we celebrate the three royals who followed a certain star. The names of these three kings were Gasper, Melchior, and Balstar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I did my best. They traveled a great distance to worship the newborn Christ in Bethlehem, according to the Gospel of Matthew. These wise men presented the Holy Child with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. If
Mirror.
I'm pronouncing it right. From there on, families and friends gathered to share the rosca and a cup of calientito, hot Mexican chocolate, or atole, it's called, made with indigenous ingredients flavored from our ancestors, chocolate and corn.
Really? Wait, what?
Yes, chocolate and corn.
Whoa, what the flip?
Bro,
I did not know that.
it's tasty, man. Best of all, for the festivities within the rosca, the small doll, I was talking about
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah, yeah.
or the miniquito, it represents the baby Jesus. And
Oh,
with
yeah.
customs, if a person who finds the doll, once they're like within their slice, they must host a tamale feast for a day called Dia del Calendria on February 2nd, which extends the holiday cheer.
You sounded white when you said tamale.
Tamale, oh my gosh, perdón,
Tamale.
perdón.
Buddy.
Forgive him. And well, that concludes the podcast for today. Any leftover remarks?
Okay, I hate how that we had to wait so long. But hey, that's the point though. We eat, not eat, but we
Right.
wait until it's baked, and that's the moment we eat it. And that part I enjoy the most.
No, yeah, it's all about the process and enjoying the food in the end and celebrating with our families, right?
Ya tú
Ya tú
sabes.
sabes. Thanks Andres, and thanks for you viewers for tuning in today. Enjoy your homemade rosca and enjoy the festivities that come with it.
Already. Nos vemos,
¡Vemos,
vatos.
vatos!